I'm Bob Webb. I'm the Chief Business Development Officer with ClearlyIP. I've been with the organization since November. And one of the first things I did was was able to work on the launch of our failover gateway that we'll be talking about today. I'm on the call today with Tracy Liu. Tracy's new to the organization as well. She's our Vice President of Channel Sales. Hey, Tracy.
Hey everyone.
Fantastic. Um, Then, so just to remind everybody that your mics are muted, but there is a Q&A section to put any questions. We would love to see lots of questions in today's chat. What we can answer, we'll answer. What we can't. Today, I'm going to give a brief introduction to ClearlyIP, the organization, and talk about the failover gateway and how it can add resiliency to your Clearly Cloud implementation or really any cloud PBX implementation. We'll discuss the features of the gateway, the pricing, and how to order it. So ClearlyIP, you're looking at a diagram of all of our products here, and I'll take you through the products in a minute. A little background on ClearlyIP. First and foremost, we're a VoIP company. We are a team of experienced VoIP experts across the board uh, there. We're also a growth company. We are committed to growth in multiple ways, but in particular, we leverage our large software engineering resources to enhance our offerings and add new products. In addition to that, we acquire strategic properties that further enhance our product set and extend our reach. And finally, we constantly look to improve our reseller and agent services to make ourselves the best partner in the industry. This slide pictures our products. Clearly Cloud is in the center of the picture. It is our UCaaS platform and our flagship product. It is a feature-rich multi-tenant solution running on a highly distributed architecture. One thing that makes us different from other UCaaS providers is we manufacture our own IP desk phones and gateways. We offer these direct to partners, direct to consumer through our website, through our store at great prices. And these are very, very solid state of the art machines. Our SIP trunking platform runs on the exact same architecture, distributed architecture as our UCaaS platform. So it's rock solid and ensure that I'm going to point out our ComExchange platform as well. ComExchange is a separate phone system purpose built for the hospitality industry. It can run on premise, it can run in the cloud or in a hybrid configuration. Actually, with ComExchange, we are in more than 2,000 hotels nationwide, serving more than 400,000 hotel rooms. Finally, I'm going to highlight our SendFax 2 product. This is our e-faxing solution, fax to email, email to fax. I'm going to highlight it because one, I just did a webinar on it within the last month. So if you do a quick search of our website, you'll be able to find that webinar if you're interested. And on top of that, it's really a great product and a great solution. I use it all the time. So the VoIP Failover Gateway, welcome to the Swiss Army knife of gateways. We call that because this gateway, the single gateway, can play multiple roles. This gateway, basically inside of it has a small PBX that supports SIP trunking and SIP lines. On the back, you would see that it has 6 FXS ports and 2 FXO ports. It has both LAN and WAN connectivity. And when the WAN is not available, it will dynamically establish a 4G connection to carry the voice traffic. We use this box for our POTS replacement solution, as well as for Cloud PBX Failover. Today, we're just going to be talking about the Cloud PBX Failover, but it's the same box, the same technology that does both. Right. So the goal, let's maintain voice and 911 services through an internet outage. The benefit from cloud services that you get with using Clearly Cloud or any other cloud services is you get that 100% uptime on the platform, but you're connected to it through your own internet service. What we do here is we provide a level of protection should that internet service go down. It's got a small budget, we'll cover the pricing at the end, and it's got powerful features. How does it work? The gateway sits on the LAN. You can see in state 1, the gateway sits on the LAN with the IP phones, including IP gateways, and The IP phones are registered to the cloud PBX and everything's running beautifully. The gateway continuously monitors with SIP messaging the presence and the availability of that cloud PBX service. When it becomes unavailable, the gateway begins to accept registration from the IP phones based on the fact that these phones are on the same network as the gateway. It does not require SIP auth, so you don't need to maintain the gateway the same way you're maintaining your cloud PBX. The important thing to note here is that all of these IP devices, all of these IP phones are primarily registered to the cloud PBX, but have a secondary failover registration to the gateway. And the gateway will accept those registrations as soon as it can no longer see the cloud PBX. So in the state two, what you see is, sure enough, that's connected. The phones have re-registered to the gateway, and the gateway has established a separate trunk group over the 4G network to the PSTN. I hope all that makes sense. It's very, very essential that it just works in the background, monitoring the cloud PBX while everything's good. You lose your internet connection, and it begins accepting these registrations and establishing a separate trunk group to the world. So, what are the features of the PBX once this happens? First of all, you're maintaining inbound and outbound calling. It has an inbound IVR that you can program, and you're preserving 911 dialing and extension calling. So basically, dial tone exists and people can call you. You can combine this with a failover on your DID or a forwarding on your DID to get your main list number routed to this box and have an emergency IVR pre-programmed on this box to handle those calls. The IVR can have a directory dial or an extension dialing. It's absolutely essential when you need to preserve 911 dialing and you lose the internet. This is the solution that will help you do that. We sell it with an optional battery backup. The battery backup says it will run 10 hours. It actually runs much more than that in our labs. Of course, some of that would depend on your calling, but 10 hours is a very, very good solid number that you can depend on. If you need to locate this box somewhere where it is not getting a good 4G signal, we have cables and antennas that you can purchase from us that will make sure that you get a great signal on the 4G side of this box. How's it priced? Let's talk about the far right of this picture first. This gateway is sold separately through our store. MSRP is $750. So anybody who wants to can go buy the gateway. They can get their own SIM, get their own data plan, and get their own trunk and manage it all themselves, a la carte, if you will. If you bundle this solution with Clearly Cloud on a 36-month agreement, we'll add the additional SIP trunking, we'll provide the SIM card, we'll provide the box at $75 per month. So it's one flat fee at $75 a month, and you get the SIM card. You don't have to worry about the data plan. You don't have to worry about establishing a second set of trunks, and the box is included. On a 60-month agreement, that same arrangement comes down to $42 per month. You purchase. Again, if we go to the left of the previous pic, or the far right of the previous picture, I should say, that you can just go to store at ClearlyIP.com. If you're not already registered, register yourself on the website, and you can purchase it at the retail price. It is discounted for partners according to your partner discount. If you're looking to bundle it with Clearly Cloud, reach out to your sales representative. And if you don't have a sales representative, send an email to sales@clearlyip.com. And we'll make sure that your cloud can be bundled with this failover solution. We do have a product page. You want to go over anything I said today, we'll be sending out the webinar so everybody can look at it in the slides. But we do have a web page on our a product page on our main website called at clearlyip.com 4G Failover Gateway. Just want to highlight again, we talked about this being the Swiss Army knife of gateways. You'll see two tabs on the page. One tab will cover the 4G Failover Gateway, and one tab will cover our POTS replacement solution. We also have a knowledge base where we talk about how to configure the box, all of its attributes, and that knowledge base can be reached at the URL above. And again, you'll get these slides made available to you after the webinar completes. That's it. That's the whole story. It's a great solution. We've had a lot of success stories with it already, and we're hoping that it meets your needs. I'm going to jump over, see if there's any questions. So one question that I'd like to answer is, can it be used for premise-based PBX? Let's just go up a few slides. And can it be used for premise-based PBX? And there needs to be a manual intervention, because if this PBX is on the same network as the gateway, it's going to continue to see that PBX, potentially, even if it's not working. If it's replying to the SIP, it will see that potentially. So you may have to manually say, take down that SIP service, take down that SIP service, and then it will recognize it as down, as well as go and sail over. So there is a process for premise-based PBX to be secured this way, but premise-based PBX to be secured this way, but it may require an extra step if it's still responding to those SIP notifies after it's down. All right, we have another question here. Why VoLTE PSTN instead of an LTE-based tunnel to the host? The reason for the VoLTE solution is, at the end of the day, we're a VoLTE. It's not a VoLTE PSTN. I'm sorry. Let me be really clear. It's LTE, and it's just an LTE tunnel. It is not VoLTE. So if the screen says VoLTE, it shouldn't. It's not a VoLTE solution. It's an LTE-based tunnel, 4G LTE tunnel to the host. Not even a tunnel, just a connection. So it's connected to the host. Is it doing a ping to tell if the host provider is up? No, it's doing SIP messaging to tell if the host provider is up. So that's a great question. It is not doing a ping. It's doing SIP requests and responses. Do extensions, trunk settings get synced with Cloud PBX, or will we need to manually set up the failover box? You will need to manually set up the failover box. This is not replicating all the function you have in your Cloud PBX. That's a very important note. What this solution is doing is it's providing dial tone and connectivity over a separate trunk group. It is not replicating all the functions and features of your existing Cloud PBX, and it is not pulling from that in order to do the configuration. It is a separate configuration process. This is just a trunk from the gateway to the PSTN over 4G LTE data. It is not a VoLTE connection. I think that answers all the questions on that side.
And I did see someone with their hand up, so I wasn't sure if everybody knew to type their questions in the Q&A.
Thank you, Tracy. So each phone has a 911 emergency setting. Okay, let's be, first of all, each phone has, first and foremost, each phone has a secondary SIP registration. That's the first key to making this work. As far as the 911 setting, you will set up the 911 settings for that trunk group, however you manage that trunk group. So if the outbound calls are going out on 911, going out that trunk group, you'll set the settings on that. You probably won't maintain every aspect of your dispatchable location setup unless you work really, really hard to do that. Again, it's meant to keep 911 up through an outage. It's probably, if you've set up a very elaborate dispatchable location solution with, say, a hotel or something like that, during that outage time, you may have a simpler 911 delivery process. Are there any other questions? These were very excellent questions. Again, everything relies on those SIP phones having a secondary registration, the gateway knowing when the Cloud PBX is down through a SIP conversation, and then finally establishing a separate trunk directly over the 4G data network. But it still is a voice over IP trunk or a SIP trunk. When the internet comes back, does it stop accepting registration? It absolutely does stop accepting registration when the network comes back. The phones will fail over to the absolutely fail over to the cloud PBX, and you will be back online. Phones are supported with this solution. Any phone can be used with this solution or gateway device as long as it has a secondary registration process. So the ClearlyIP phones and most other modern SIP phones have the ability to say, here's where I'd like to connect. If that's not available, I want to connect here. The only other qualification is that the phone needs to be on the local area network with the device. The device has a specification. The gateway has a specification of what part of the LAN will it accept registrations from. I'm going to leave it at that. Listen, you guys, I know you're all very busy. We really appreciate the time that you take out of your day to learn our products. We may have another webinar coming up, so let me see. We do not have one in this slide deck, but we will be doing additional webinars in the next month, and you'll get that in our email. But thank you again for your time. We really appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.